When your cat follows you around the house and stays close all day, do you actually know what that means? Yes, it feels comforting. It looks like simple affection, maybe even dependency, but behind that closeness there is something deeper that most people miss. It is one of the most emotionally loaded things your cat can do. And if you ignore it, which most owners do, you might miss what your cat is quietly asking from you every single day. Let's start with what that behavior really means. It's not about attention, it's about daily security. Have you ever noticed your cat asking for attention at the same times every day? Most people think it is just routine or habit. But here is what is actually happening. Cats are creatures of predictability. Their brains are wired to feel safe when life follows a pattern. Feeding, playing, resting all at expected times reduces stress and builds emotional stability. So when your cat waits for you or follows you, it is not random. It is checking if its world is still stable. Think about that for a second. Every small thing you do daily becomes a signal of safety. And by the way, if your cat ever starts acting restless when your routine changes, do not brush it off. We will get to what that really means later, and it is something most owners wish they understood sooner. Because this is not just routine. It is emotional grounding. Small interactions literally change their brain. Have you ever wondered if small daily actions really matter to your cat? Most people assume only big things count, like food or toys. But here is what is actually happening. A 2020 study from the University of Lincoln found that consistent positive interactions with cats reduce stress hormones and increase trust behaviors over time. Animal cognition research also shows that repeated gentle engagement, like talking softly, slow blinking, or light petting, builds long-term emotional security. That means every small moment you give your cat is shaping how safe they feel with you. Think about that for a second. Your presence is not neutral. It is changing their emotional state every day. And here is where it gets even more powerful. If you ignore those small moments, your cat does not just feel bored. They feel disconnected. When you touch them, you are leaving invisible marks. Have you ever noticed your cat rubbing against you or leaning into your hand? Most people think it is just affection. But here is what is actually happening. Cats have scent glands in their face, paws, and body. When they rub or when you pet them, those glands release pheromones, creating a shared scent environment. Researchers who study feline behavior call this social bonding through scent marking. So every time you pet your cat, you are not just touching them. You are reinforcing that they belong with you. Think about that for a second. Your daily interaction becomes part of their identity. What makes this even more meaningful is that without those interactions, that shared scent fades. And with it, a sense of connection. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. These habits come from something ancient. Have you ever wondered why cats need these daily rituals so much? Most people think it is just personality. But here is what is actually happening. In the wild, cats rely on consistent patterns to survive. Hunting, resting, and staying close to safe territory is the difference between safety and danger. Behavioral scientists have observed that these patterns are deeply instinctive, not learned. So when your cat follows routines with you, it is not just preference. It is survival behavior adapted to your home. Think about that for a second. Your daily actions replace the wild structure they once depended on. And here is where it gets even more powerful. When you show up consistently, your cat sees you as part of that survival system. Not just an owner. But stability itself. They do not do this for everyone. Have you ever noticed your cat behaves differently with you compared to others? Most people assume cats are just selective. But here is what is actually happening. Studies on domestic cats reveal that they form strong selective bonds based on trust, consistency, and emotional safety. They do not give the same attention or closeness to everyone. Think about that for a second. The way your cat responds to your daily actions. That is not generic behavior. That is personal. What makes this even more meaningful is that your consistency is what earns that bond. They are choosing you again and again. And not everyone gets that. This is what most owners never realize. Have you ever thought about what happiness actually feels like for your cat? Here is what is actually happening. When you feed them on time, play with them, speak softly and respond to their signals, you are not just meeting needs. You are creating emotional safety. And emotional safety is what allows cats to relax fully. To stretch out, to expose their belly, to sleep deeply. Think about that for a second. Those moments when your cat looks completely at peace. That is not random. That is built. And remember earlier when I said if your cat becomes restless when your routine changes. This is what I was talking about. Because without that consistency, that safety starts to break. And your cat feels it immediately. What makes this even more powerful is this. Your daily actions are not small to them. They are everything. When the effort disappears, so does the bond. Have you ever noticed a cat becoming distant over time? Most people assume it is just mood or personality. But here is what is actually happening. Studies on domestic cats reveal that reduced interaction and inconsistency can lead to emotional withdrawal and increased stress behaviors. Cats do not always react loudly. Sometimes they slowly disconnect. Think about that for a second. If the daily connection fades, so does their sense of security. This is where most owners get it wrong. They focus on big gestures, but ignore the daily ones. Do not ignore it. Because rebuilding trust is always harder than maintaining it. So when your cat follows you, stays close and responds to your daily habits, do you actually know what that means? It might feel like routine. It might look like nothing special. But behind those small daily moments there is something deeper. It is safety. It is trust. It is your cat building their entire emotional world around you. That is not habit. That is connection. And those small things you do every day. They were never small to them. And they should not be small to you either.